Hello all, this is Barbara Mann from Your Empowered You, and welcome to our video on maybe that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but survival after employment termination. Yes, this isn't a topic that maybe we want to discuss, but it's one that happens. So most of us have probably either been terminated or laid off one time or another in our lives, in our careers. And for the most part, we have all survived. Is it pleasant? Not always, but in this video, we're going to talk mainly about termination. And granted, a lot of things when you're laid off, there's similar things from when you're actually terminated from employment and when you're laid off. But this video is going to focus actually on employment termination. Like you're actually terminated. It's not a layoff. It's more of just a flat out termination, which usually happens for one of two reasons. One is a performance type of issue where you go through a progression, a performance management progression, which ends in termination. Or there's some sort of egregious issue that occurred during your employment and caused a termination, which sometimes those can happen very, very quickly. So in either case, we're going to focus on still, how do you process a termination? What are your next steps? What is usually the final outcome? So, if you only listen to this video for a short amount of time, listen to the first part, which I'm going to talk about the outcome first when employees are terminated. First off, never ever let a termination define you. All it means is maybe it wasn't the right job for you. You probably knew that maybe, especially if it's a performance management issue, maybe you knew that it wasn't the right job. You felt like you were swimming upstream. So what? It's not the right job for you. Or maybe it wasn't the right culture for you. Or maybe something just wasn't aligned. Big deal. It wasn't the right job. But don't let it define you. If you did make a big mistake that maybe led to a termination, everybody makes mistakes. We're going to continue to make mistakes. Maybe not big ones, that cause a termination, but everybody makes mistakes. It just happens. You learn from the mistakes. You grow from your mistakes. And it does not mean you're a bad, incompetent person, you're a failure, or anything like that. A lot of times people feel like that after they're terminated. It doesn't mean any of these things. Do not let a termination define you. Keep it as simple as you can and remove those emotions, even though that's very, very hard to do. It's not the right job. Maybe you made a mistake, but it doesn't mean that you are a bad person, that you're incompetent, nothing like that. And here's how the final sort of outcome is. When you finally go through the whole process of the emotions, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But the final outcome, because I want to start with the final outcome, usually if someone goes through this process, they grow immensely, they understand what kind of job they want, they understand what kind of culture or kind of company they want to work for, what is better suited for them, they learn maybe from a mistake maybe they made, and you're a heck of a lot stronger than you ever think you could be. Most people think, oh my God, if I were terminated, I don't know what I would do and be able to get through it. Yeah, you'll get through it. And you're a heck of a lot stronger than you ever thought you could be. Usually people end up getting a better job, usually better money, usually a better career opportunity. And last but not least, most people think it's the best thing that's ever happened to them. Because you know what? When you're not really aligned with the company or the job, it's just not the right fit. You don't feel right. And, you look back on maybe a termination or a layoff, and it's the best thing that ever happened to you because you usually land in a better spot. So, if you're going to shut out this video, which hopefully you'll still listen to the rest of it, just make sure you listen to that and hopefully it resonates if you've ever been terminated from your job or you're recently terminated, because you will survive and most likely you're going to come out a heck of a lot stronger in a lot better spot. But let's talk about when you are terminated, what are those right next steps? What do you have to do? You terminate from your employer, and there's some things that you need to do. Obviously advise your family or those who feel like you're going to help you. Hiding the facts from family or people who you think you can help you may not be the best thing to do. You want that support. You want to tell people who you think can support you and help you through this. It's going to be a process. But one of the things that anybody should do is file that unemployment claim pronto. So when you're terminated from employment, You need to immediately file an unemployment claim so that you can at least fill those financial gaps in the interim until you get another position. Health benefits, that's huge. So, obviously people need to have their health benefit. So one of the first questions is, does your spouse's employer offer benefits? If so, get on those very, very quickly, obviously. What about your employer will explain COBRA? So do you need to get on COBRA? Do you want to just have private insurance? So how do you get private insurance? If you're terminated, you can get private insurance at any time. Does your prior employer extend those health benefits through a certain period of time? Some employers do. Some extend it for a month or two. So did your HR personnel explain those things? Make sure you're clear on what to do on those health benefits. Make sure that your vacation time, anything that wasn't used, is cashed out. And then also look into your transfer of your 401k if you need to into your own private 401k or what that looks like. So make sure, certain types of benefits from your prior employer are taken care of or transferred over to whatever needs to be done. Another next step, you got to revise the budget potentially, because obviously this is going to pose a financial impact. And it's never a bad thing to revise your household budget. Where your money goes, it's shocking how much money we spend on just stuff, right? But get a thorough spreadsheet, document any and all expenses, whether it's a monthly expense, a quarterly expense, a yearly expense. Find out how much you spend on food and gas, entertainment, clothing, bills, insurance, registration, subscriptions, all those sorts of things, and be thorough, very thorough. So think of all those bills that you're paying. And then finally, what you're going to do is you're going to find out what you're paying monthly. What are you paying monthly? And honestly, it's surprising usually. Where can you cut those costs? Are you paying too much on your cable? Are there other alternatives? A lot of people do live streaming alternatives, which is about half of what, potentially like a Dish or DirecTV might look like. Can you cut costs on your cell phone bill? Can you cut costs on entertainment? Most likely you can. What about your food? How much are you spending on food? Are there ways to cut costs? Most likely, yes. There are other alternatives on, where we shop. Do we now go into bulk buying? What memberships do you have that you can cut out? What about some subscriptions to, magazines or maybe, health, fitness type of things? This is temporary stuff. It's just things like to get you through to make sure that you don't have this huge deficit on your financial impact. You still have some unemployment money coming in to help with things, but that's certainly not, it's not going to fill the whole entire gap. So those are like the non-emotion and feeling type of issues that need to be taken care of. But let's talk about now, we're human beings. We're going to be processing those feelings and emotions, and everybody is different. Everybody is going to handle these types of things a little bit differently. But the bottom line is that when we're terminated or laid off, it's like grief. You're grieving your job. A lot of times our identity is associated with our job, and so it's like you are grieving a little bit, and you go through those stages of grief. It could be shock. Maybe you didn't see this termination coming. A lot of times people don't. There's anger that's usually going on. Then there's the bargaining, and these are the 5 stages of grief. Where the bargaining is, if I hadn't done this, this would have happened. If I would have done this, this would have happened. And a lot of times, this follows with depression, which is very common when you lose a job. Again, this is potentially your identity. You're not with your coworkers anymore. You're feeling sad, that, oh my gosh, I lost my job, and you feel these pressures maybe from just society in general about loss of job. And again, do not let it define you. Most people in their careers have had this happen. You just don't talk about it all the time. And then the final stage of all these is acceptance. You finally accept what's happened and you're ready to move on, and that's a great thing to have, is you're finally ready to move on. But again, when you're going through this, some of the common feelings that you're gonna feel, you can maybe be embarrassed. It's very common. Self-esteem issues. Maybe you're gonna panic a little bit. But the bottom line is, when you're going through this, you need to take your time, and you don't rush, you don't bury your emotions, because trust me, when you bury those things, they're going to come out, and it may not be pretty. So take your time, don't rush, everybody's different, and don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Just go every day, kind of push forward. Again, not really rushing. Take your time if you need to. If you want to rush, if that's how you handle it, that's fine. But don't bury it. If you feel sad and you feel depressed, that's okay. You're not going to be like this all the time. But the key thing is, don't get stuck in whatever emotion you're feeling. Press on, go forward, take positive actions, do things that are productive, right? And again, the final stage is acceptance, and now you're ready to really move forward and really try to find that better job. So usually when we're in that sort of acceptance and we're ready to move forward, we kind of know now, hey, maybe that wasn't the right job for me. Maybe that wasn't the right company. And you're ready to now be in tune with alignment, with better alignment with your job, better alignment with company culture, and understanding how that is important to people. Maybe it wasn't the right fit. Most of the time it's not just the right fit. That happens. It's no big deal. Usually in the time of acceptance, you get that better job. It's usually more money. It's usually a better opportunity because, again, you have more clarity about what you want. You're emotionally stronger than you are before. We talked about this at the very beginning because this is the final stage. This is the outcome of when we finally process through these emotions. You're a heck of a lot stronger than you ever give yourself credit for. Everybody is. When we're our back's against the wall and we got to get things done, and there's no way around it, we're so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. We think, when everything's good, that we'll never get through it. Lo and behold, we do. Usually we grow immensely through these times. We learn a lot about ourselves. You learn, how strong I am. What do I really want? You start thinking about maybe other creative opportunities that maybe you didn't have a chance to explore. And usually, lo and behold, you look back and you think that's the best thing that ever happened. That's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. So if you have been terminated, or maybe some of these things resonate with you, or maybe you have a friend who's been had a termination, hopefully they'll get something out of this, because the bottom line is that most of us have gone through some sort of termination, layoff. It happens. It's happened to most people. We just don't talk about it usually with our family and colleagues and our friends. But it does happen. Life goes on. You just have to give yourself time to process. And then when you finally get out of it, and it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but you look back on it and think, my God, that wasn't the right job for me. Thank God that happened. And you get a great position. So I hope that you have enjoyed our video on, hopefully, maybe not enjoyed is the right word, but maybe hopefully those who have gone through this got a little bit of something and can provide, and if it happens to you again, it provides some assistance for you. Can help others who are going through the same thing. So for additional resources or to schedule a session with me, please visit my website at www.yourimpoweredyou.com, or feel free to email me at bman@yourimpoweredyou.com. Give me a ring at 916-633-2555, and I thank you very much and have a very empowered day.